In this episode, Konami is breaking players' legs, wallets, and trust from its Western Hemisphere player base, WACCA's undying corpse being resurrected in 3 rhythm games this time around, and a bunch of collaborations across the mobile rhythm game space. I'm Ichigo, and this is the Rhythm Game Roundup. Welcome to the Rhythm Game Roundup, where we round up the latest news and updates from your favorite rhythm games. Even though it's been actually almost a week since the mind-bending mega episode covering October's updates, I'm afraid this November edition might be following its footsteps a little bit. Mostly because of our main story in this episode. We have to talk about Konami. With the 11th, or should I say 2023, Konami Arcade Championship wrapping up in this weekend, November 25th, livestream from Amusement Expo, a lot has gone in the background as players grinded themselves throughout the qualifiers since August. The BEMANI lineup experienced a shrinkage actually, with Dance Around and Nostalgia not being contested in this year's KAC, and some of our first signs of strange regulation changes began with the language of the KAC rule set. Considering last year's 10th KAC was Japanese only due to the COVID regulations, this year international participants can join in, but they are required to be able to speak conversational Japanese, with Konami not providing translators during the event. This sparked confusion with the player base and ended it with that specific rule being removed on August 29th. As the weeks went by, the qualifiers ended and eligible players were getting notifications and emails from Konami. But unfortunate news struck to Christopher Life, Hambonis aka Amber, Mark, and Nate. All 4 of these top-ranking DDR players received emails notifying that they are participating in the qualifiers and broke certain rules, such as the submitting Konami ID accounts not associated with the country of origin, as experienced by Nate, as he signed up using his Japan-based ID, and participating with 2 Konami ID accounts, as experienced by Chris, Hambonis, and Mark, even with them signing up using their US-based ID. The crux of this issue lies in 2 situations that Konami has set up over the years. Firstly is the region lock features for playing DDR Arcade and DDR Grand Prix, the PC home client. Konami has set up DDR to be charged ideally with the Paseli electronic currency system, and it's tied to a Konami ID. And of course, this is exclusively used in Japan. To encourage this, many features are locked behind paywalls, with the only way of paying them is using Paseli, such as the e-amusement basic course, locking handle name change, rival settings, note skin and appearance settings, ending score details, and vital features like early late timing indicators, game element layering like pushing the combo with text behind the notes, and the big kahuna of extra stage access, where there's over than 20 exclusive songs locked behind it. Not only that, but Paseli is used to pay the monthly subscription of DDR Grand Prix and purchasing its song packs, handily linking your Konami ID progress from your arcade plays to this PC home client. In the end, if anyone outside of Japan wants to get into the full suite of features, song list, and access, they have to make a Japan-based Konami ID alongside their regional ID. And whenever things like the KAC comes around, and suddenly you have international players coming to Japan to participate, they can simply transfer their account save data from their regional ID to Japan ID. That is, until January 2023, where our second issue arises. The save data transfer feature that has existed for so long was removed, and this left players deciding on which account they should commit to. Either their regional account with limited song choices, lack of vital features, and inability to access extra game content, or their Japanese-based account with literally everything I said beforehand being available to them. Of course, most players would commit to their Japan account. With that, here comes KAC 2023. While the player must use the Konami ID according to the regional residence clause of the rules has been the same since Konami opened a tournament to international players back in 2017, with the removal of e-amusement save data transferring, these players are now facing the dilemma of which account should they use for the qualifiers. We're in completely new waters here, and since there is no region-based categorization for the KAC, regions shouldn't really affect much while qualifying, would it? Nate, one of the North American contenders, decided to contact Konami about his qualifier status, considering his using his Japan ID. What he got back was a stern reminder of the region of residence rule, and his entry became invalid. Weeks later, after the qualifiers closed, Chris, Amber, and Mark received emails regarding their double accounts, even though the three of them qualified using their United States ID. In the end, they all got disqualified, which devastated not only these four hardworking players, but also the community. Not to mention, there was a brand new clause in this year's KAC where participants who are disqualified in any KAC will never be able to participate in any future events. This hit so hard that Chris has had enough and is currently taking a mental break from rating games overall. It's safe to say that this situation is such a mess on all fronts. From Konami basically configuring their games to be as inaccessible as possible to players outside of Japan, adding unnecessary and heavily targeted clauses towards international players in this year's KAC, where COVID is no longer an excuse, and them showcasing the tournament in a public stage now. The Japanese player base being surprised at how much disparity their game content is compared to the outside world, some being somewhat understandable that these four players broke the rules. The top players disappointed they're not gonna be able to compete with their foreign counterparts, and the player base went so far as to attempt to boycott Konami by canceling their e-amusement subscriptions and using the hashtag KonamiDoBetter. If you guys want a deeper dive, this video by Dr. G Gaming titled Let's Talk About the 11th KAC is a really nice video essay form, explaining the rule set from the 6th KAC and describing the North American Disqualification more in depth. For you text readers out there, you can check the written recap of the situation by ICE. Both of these sources and many others are in the description down below. Fortunately, this is the only pressing issue that's happening as we are going to 2023 KAC. I'd love to see what you guys think of this whole qualifier debacle and share your thoughts in the comments down below. Before we move on to our next story though, we have to check on the Babylon's Galaxy Ho runs and see if we have a new high score this week. And it appears we do! On a 5-hour livestream session back in November 19th, FFMs attempted to push further into Ho, with around 30% of the player gauge EX coming towards the 800k mark, and with a lot of praying and crying emojis from the live chat, he successfully pushed the challenge single play high score to 873,000. This comes after he previously broke a 852,000 score in the same stream. 3 weeks in, and no one is still able to clear this chart. Of course, no thanks in part because of the highly challenging health gauge. Let's hope he gets fully cleared soon enough. With that, let's move on to the slew of collaborations that has been happening left, right, and center throughout the past few weeks. Some have started, some have only just announced. Archaea, who had collaborated with WACCA when it was still alive back in 2021, announced the pack's entry into the Switch port on March 15, 2023, which include 3 extra songs that mobile players had salivating to try for the longest time, and that wait might be worth it. On November 24th, Archaea announced its second chapter collaboration with WACCA, bringing in Meta Mysteria, Eden, and Extreme from the Switch exclusive bucket and adding Overture and Stratoliner, making it a full 5-song pack. Alongside the pack, Lily is brought back onto World Mode to retrieve, and our technically first ever solo male partner in Archaea after over 6 years of existence, Lewin. And yes, I say technically because people will still argue that Tenniel is the first, but canonically he's just a figment of Alice's memory, and Arias from the Chunidom collab is not a human. He's a god. It's even confirmed by Guy himself. So yeah, new twink! The rest of the upcoming update adds some quality of life changes to the game, including changing light side backgrounds to have a darker contrasting diamond for better visibility, and modifying arcs in a visual manner for specifically fast-moving 90-degree horizontal arcs. Version 5.2 will be released on November 30th, and the partner limited time maps will be available under December 20th, so enough time to grind. Let's also pray that the Switch players can receive this update as soon as possible though. My also took their time to make a dedicated event for a WACCA collaboration. On November 10th, the WACCA Chiho was released, complementing Knight Rider and Let You Dive that was released 8 months ago, and added 4 songs, with You, Love Kills You, Dangerous, Jungle, and Angel Halo. The Chiho comes with the prerequisite members, nameplates, and frames. Another game that got their hands on a post-mortem WACCA collab is 6 Target Star Trail, With their collaboration announced as far back as April, they're finally set to release it to its Steam Early Access version on November 27th and the Switch version releasing in different dates based on regions. Here's the list of exact dates. The song list is majorly the same as what we covered on the previous RGRU episode, with the exception of the weirdly titled Let You Die with Overture to be replaced with Ephemer. I'm still gonna list the entire song list though. We're gonna have Let You Die with You, Overture, Chariot, Onomatu Pairing, Invisible Frenzy, Dual Breaker XX, and Ephemer. The collaboration DLC will also include 3 gear skins in tribute to WACCA's 3 versions, a WACCA note skin, 9 spammable emoticons, and of course a main menu theme titled In Memory of WACCA. How about a collaboration that's been released recently? Announced on both sides back in November 17th, Figros is adding another commercial rating game collaboration to its collection, now with the rising star Rotino. Figros is receiving Journey with You, Secret Illumination, and Rotino's Chapter 1 boss song Inverted World, whilst Rotino receives no news about it even as of the writing of the script. They're planning to release their side of the collaboration on December 5th, so we can expect an announcement of the full event by November 28th, a week before it starts. Figros constructed an entire side story for their side of the collab, and Rotino might possibly give the same treatment as their previous Calpa collaboration. Who knows? Another two-way already released collaboration happened on November 22nd, this time between the relatively new Sparkline and Orsmec. Sparkline receives Iridescent Gazer by Policia, Triflux by Rai, and Saint Telmo by Aoi, while Orsmec receives Pulsar by Seiti, Into the Depths by Ruha, and Spider by Suna. I'd also like to give some love to this very beautiful collab illustration. It's so cool and beautiful to see. And no, those are not Pupa butterflies. Get your mind out of the gutter. One of our last crossover rating game collabs happened the most recently. On November 24th, under the collaboration gimmick of sharing songs from the same composers, Takumi Cubic, Liminality, and Shinobi Slash conducted a 3-way indie rating game collab, together with the composers Reiko Mochizuki and K-Forest. All 3 games received the songs Awake by K-Forest, Absolute Moan, Final EX by Reiko Mochizuki, and From Naught, which is a versus song between the 2 composers. Liminality's side of the collab will instantly be unlocked and playable. Takumi Cubic has Awake and Absolute Moan unlocked immediately, while having From Naught as an event challenge song where players need to complete a medley or done course of playing these 3 songs in a row with a health gauge. And Shinobi Slash has the songs locked in their dedicated mission area to be grinded. All of this is completely free to grind, unlock, and play. And that's it for our main story segment, but of course, that is not entirely everything that has happened throughout the past few weeks in the world of rating games. So check your offset, adjust your hit sound volume, and let's dive into the event cycle. Rhythm Doctor's Act 5 update came out back in November 5th, continuing our internship in Metal Sea Hospital where we discovered a new hallway that leads towards the physiotherapy ward. Well, if you beat level 2-1's night shift. This is because some gimmicks that we've seen on extra content such as collaborations with Mustache and Unbeatable gets formally introduced in this act. Act 5 features the patient Maximo Lucky John Ronero, a professional baseball player that experienced an athletic injury and is having spikes in heartbeat. Throughout the various tutorials, we're introduced to Q-based subdivision beats, freeze or frozen off beats, and even quick hold release judgment on its intermission stage. Don't worry, I won't be spoiling anything in this story other than the general info as mentioned, but stage 5X is gonna be a doozy, so please follow the in-game instructions properly to have the best experience for it. Other new stuff added into the game are a new night shift for stage 4-4 Murmurs, visual updates to various Act 4 levels, new options to the setting of drum mode and tap to hold, and the level editor has added the new heartbeat types and characters from Act 5. As its Steam community post says, if you're rusty with your rhythm skills, you might want to warm up with an earlier level. Good luck! Before the barrage of WACCA collaboration news, on November 6, Six Star Gate Star Trail had celebrated its 2nd anniversary with a free song release, 6 Star Tales by Sound Solder, and adding new BGAs to these songs right here, mostly composed by Yomoha and Karut. A few weeks later, on November 16th, Sixargate held a joint booth with the Jeonbuk Global Game Center, showcasing the Star Trail Switchboard and the Switch-exclusive Sixargate iteration called Stargazer, where the notes comes in atypically from left, right, up, down lanes towards the center. The official account showcased a gameplay session by Remilia as part of their matchup showcase with DreamX, aka DDX. I'm awestruck at how well made Stargazer is without it being as publicly known as Star Trail. The game's exhibition also showcased the WACCA Collaboration early for those who attend, and quite a few people including the official Twitter account shared gameplay footage. And my god, I'd love to get my hands on the DLC just to play Chariot's chart. Oh, I do have to mention again that everything you see from their G-Star exhibit are using the Switch port, so the charts are going to be different compared to the Steam port. Rizline is kicking things off with an almost full implementation of its Rizcard feature following its November 24th update. Now, players can use their collected titles, song illustration, and layouts to craft their unique Rizcards with your player name stamped onto them. Though you better think of a good player name to use because you can't change it out later. We've known about this since November 10th when a teaser image of 3 devices showing different Rizcard designs was released. Speaking of November 10th, the next Sora song was released back then. It's Contortion by PTB10. As of the editing of this episode, we're only 844 purchases away from the next song, and that number may decrease even faster. Following the November 24th update, it was announced that Rizline servers for the Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau regions, handled by LT Games Global, will be transferred to the international server handled by Pigeon Games. The situation stemmed from the fact that these 3 regions experienced lower or even late updates of the game compared to the international server, and the support as incentive count was split between the 2 servers. With these 2 servers merging together, we can expect a much faster cycle of support as songs release and full parity between Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau to the rest of the world's server updates. Finally, we get to talk about Rizline's second track series, collaborating with Diverse System. Yes, the Diverse System music label. This time, the track series event has a unique purchasing system. Compared to the previous Juggernaut collab event, where you can purchase the songs one by one each week as it gets released, players can pre-purchase the entire collab with 3 coins upfront from November 17th until the release date of 24th. With this, pre-purchasers can get a special Diverse System themed layout for designing Rizcards. What a flex! And by the time the event started, the first song was revealed to be Bring Me Back by Zek. The second song will be released on December 1st, and yes, players who missed the pre-sale can still buy these collab event songs separately. They just won't be getting the special Diverse System layout. DJ Maxx Respect 5 continues their clear paths with Season 11, all about Die-In. Centering around Die-In, or should we refer her as Gaia from her gravestone? The character from Nightmare's song art, which inexplicably gets revived and barges into Lena's office in the BJ of the song Die-In, attacking everyone including Clear, Fail, Play, and all of that. Apparently she can't escape from capitalism though, because now she needs to pay up for the damages she caused. So Lena, our manager from DJ Maxx's Tapsonic series, made her into an idol, hence the theme of the season. No, I'm not a lore expert, I'm just morbidly curious how Neoz is gonna continue adding more characters from their past games into a coherent timeline of events in Respect 5. It comes with the prerequisite menu UI theme, reward items for plates, emoticons, playfield knickknacks of hit sounds, combo design, notes kit, etc., Clear Plus premium track Survivor by Jam Jam, free track Can We Talk Broken Dog Leg Mix by Forte Escape, Judgment Meter setting update, handing out the clear plates from the previous Season 10, and center gear positioning now being available on ladder or versus mode. Thank God this was added. It's a small pet peeve of mine that the playfield is stuck on one side of this mode. Newsdash brings out another concept pack, this time titled Gambler's Tricks, filled with jazzy swingy songs such as New York Back Race by Sa, Skewata, Stuff, and Wakadori, Slick Hurts by Sobrum, Fuzzy Navel by Wakadori, Swing Edge by Blackie, Twisted Escape by Sai, and Swing Sweet Twee Dance by Yusuke featuring Naraki Nana. The update also adds 2 illustrations and a new fever background of Swindler's King Shows Off, which kinda gives me the Garaguta Gold Play vibes. But then again, that's basically the theming of anything jazzy and related to casino stuff. Twisted Escape and Puzzle Evil has hidden sheets though, so don't forget to check those out. Paradigm Reboot has been popping out a bunch of updates and announcements, and it's completely fair. On November 10th, version 1.9 was updated, adding 2 songs, Orions by Ginkiha and Fractured Temporal Paradigm Edit by Kurokote. And on November 24th, 2 new songs are added, Hokago Overdrive by Rukades and Unpredictable Nascent Invasion by Sinzak. All 4 of those songs are added into the game's single album Chaotic Signal. The announcement ends with an emblem of 1.9 finale and a tweet closing off as if something new is coming. You might have guessed it, it's the first anniversary of Paradigm Reboot. Later on, December 8th, version 2.0 will be released, and throughout the past couple of weeks, they've been announcing a lot of things as build-up to it. Firstly, the game is holding an anniversary discount campaign spanning from December 8th to January 1st, 2024, with each specific time frame having different DLC and single songs getting price cuts. Please refer to this image for more specific timings of the discount periods because you might need it. Secondly, update previews. So far, we've only gotten announcements such as the implementation of a rating system spanning from rating 0 up to over 160, with rating grades corresponding with your typical rating system. Next is difficulty rebalancing and adding the ever so important plus moniker to the difficulty levels. Next is achievements and profile plates, with titles and frames to be collected and achieved. And now, we have our first content announcement, which is a collaboration with the VTuber from Hagoniwa Etoile, Teten Maru, with 3 tracks sung by the VTuber to be released, which are Tenki, produced by Ponchi, Devil Angel, produced by Yusuke, and Hooray! Changing Seats, produced by Rish. Players will also get Teten Maru as an equipable character. And the most recent update as of the writing of the script is new songs to be added into the exploration album Objectless Journey, which are Everything by Tats featuring Yu Oda and Destroyer by Sakuzio featuring Nikki Simmons. To end off Paradigm segment, Chapter 3 Soul Mourner will be released alongside the anniversary update. It's kinda wild to have 3 main story chapters under the belt with full-on story writing and CG in a year. When I saw that Paradigm Reboot is doing a collaboration event with Teten Maru, my head tilted a bit in confusion. Like, I swear I remember seeing this exact song lineup somewhere. A quick memory jog later, I realized that Lonoda had a time-limited event completely dedicated to Teten Maru. The Teten Maru Descends event lists the same songs as previously mentioned in the Paradigm segment, Devil Angel, Hooray! Changing Seats, and Tenki. The event lasted from November 9th to 22nd. And while we're talking about Lonoda, let's hop into its subscription chapter Infinity. Starting from November 2nd, we have Avant-Garde by Raimukun, adding another 15 plus difficulty chart into Chapter Infinity, along the likes of Daydream, Serotonin, Broken Altar, and yeah, we're getting a bunch of 15 pluses compared to the main story. Anyway, next week on November 9th, Me in the Mirror by Polisha gets released. November 16th, we have Controlled by Aori4 and Pokun and Huzin, and the latest song on November 26th, The Sphere of Cosmos by Aki gets added. We might be getting a November 30th release, but as of the writing of the script, there's no such announcement yet. Keeping up with schedules, the time-limited event Graffiti Streets was announced for a rerun from December 4th to 12th, bringing back songs such as Ochoko Restless, Drizzle Flavor, and Energy Synergy Matrix. And our last update of the episode concerns Dynamix with what can only be described as the biggest quality of life update the game has received in years, coming from someone who started playing the game seriously back in 2020. Its content update includes an option to buy fragments, the in-game's in-game currency, using bits, the game's premium currency. How was this not implemented in the game eons ago? Questions me to this day. Next, we have the wave tests being fully open, which are essentially done courses with titles you can collect. The problem right now is that these courses are very much out of date and the player base are eagerly waiting for a version 2. Next is increasing the FPS limit. On a tweet by 3plus, C4Cats the game producer, the count can go as high as 300 FPS. The rest are just improved interface controls and improved game performance, which sounds vague enough that merits its own bullet points. Considering it's a software update and revamping some aspects of the game, it eventually caught players off guard with some bugs, so much so that Dynamix's servers were taken offline for maintenance. To mitigate this, C4CAT Entertainment opened customer support lines through official account DMs and email. Funny thing is, from all of their rerun event songs in November, Raving and Halloween by Jehozukiel gets rerun from November 24th to 28th, which still gaggles me because they're literally 1 month late to Halloween. Damn it, you event cycle! And with that, the episode comes to a close. I'm technically writing this as I'm watching the Konami Arcade Championships and following the 2023 Amusement Expo activities, and an event recap will be needed for the next episode, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, hope you guys enjoy this episode of the Raining Game Roundup. I've been Michiko, and I'll see you next time. Bye!